Manitoba and Saskatchewan are at the forefront of wildfire season in Canada. A province-wide state of emergency has been declared in Manitoba, where thousands have been forced to flee their communities, more than 20 fires burning there. In northern Saskatchewan, evacuations have been ordered for more than 10 communities. So for more on the current situation on the prairies, as well as wildfires burning in Newfoundland and some other parts of this region as well, we're joined by Ken McMullen. He's the president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs and Fire Chief of Red Deer, Alberta. Hi there, Ken.
Well, hi, good afternoon.
So just get us up to speed, first of all, the latest on the wildfires in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. What do you know?
Well, certainly I can provide the publicly accessible information off of the CFC's website, which is the Interagency Forest Firefighting Coordination Center. And it tells us at the moment we've got 164 active fires across Canada. Specifically, as you had mentioned in your introduction, we're seeing a large number in British Columbia, Alberta, and as you'd mentioned, over 20 in Manitoba. There are some fires burning in every province or territory at the moment other than Prince Edward Island. And I think it's important to also note that 26 new fires have started within the last 24 hours. So that's how rapid and significant changes are occurring in short periods of time.
And how unusual is it to see that scale at this time of year?
It's unfortunate. This is that time of season where we do start to see the wildfires picking up in the provinces and territories across this country. We have had other years, 23, 24, where they might have started a couple of weeks later than what we saw this year. We were seeing some fires early on in May. Nonetheless, it's concerning. We knew, some might suggest predictable, that these were going to occur, which really just leads me to my point that the need of a national fire administration, better coordination for municipal firefighters in this country is what we need now more than ever.
Yeah, what tells you that, and what should that really look like?
Yeah, where this comes to the average public is we have been on the record as the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs advocating for a position within the federal government that helps coordinate and talk about fire-related issues in this country. I could spend the majority of our day talking about the real-time impacts of wildland firefighting because it's top of mind. There are many different topics in the fire service, and we can talk about affordable housing and new home construction, or lithium-ion batteries, or fireworks, just to name three at the top of my mind, that we are not involved in the conversations nationally at a policy level early enough. Now, wildfire being our topic of the mind, it's unfortunate how quickly we forget in January when we're sitting around the table talking about policy decisions pertaining to wildfire, that we forget what happened the year before in May, June, and July. We're back to that today. We're back at lack of coordination, lack of communication between provinces and territories when it comes to resource allocation, and we've got work to be done.
How worried do you think that people in this region, in PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, where there are some fires right now, of course, we're seeing a lot of devastation out of Newfoundland right now. How concerned do you think we should be at this point?
Well, I think that everybody needs to have some degree of awareness of the risks of their own provinces or territories or an area that they're going to be visiting as far as traveling. There are a lot of things that we as homeowners and property owners can do to reduce the risk within our own properties. A great rule of thumb is to use the Fire Smart principles, and the Fire Smart principles are available online through a website. Just gives you some really helpful tips that you could do around your own property, removing combustibles around your property, taking a look, have I cut my grass? Is it longer than it should be or needs to be? Those are really some simple things from the outside. On the inside, making sure that you have a 72-hour kit in the event that you're required to shelter in place. The opposite of being shelter in place is being asked to evacuate. And similarly, make sure that you have all of your important documents. You've got your medication. If you've got travel plans coming up that requires a passport or any sort of travel visas, take those with you. It makes it extremely difficult and pressure on first responders if, while in the midst of dealing with the emergency, we have to put a lot of resources into getting people back in or those that aren't complying with the evacuation evacuation alerts or warnings. It really does complicate it at times where we don't always have the resources available to support that.
Do you feel as though, homeowners and then certainly governments are paying more attention now, with so many headlines about wildfires across this country?
Again, I'll repeat, the fact of the matter is that it's unfortunate that we forget how much we have talked about this, but we talked about it in the summer of 23, in the summer of 24. I've said on this radio show before, these are predictable and these are preventable. We need to do a better job about ensuring that we do what we can to reduce the risks of fire in our communities. We have had great conversation with government. We commend government for some of the advancements they've made towards the fire service. This is one, and I'll call it the most important one to me personally as the president, to get across the finish line, is the establishment of a National Fire Administration.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Really appreciate this, Ken.
There you go. Thanks so much.
That's Ken McMullen, president of the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs, also the fire chief in Red Deer, Alberta.